evening, everybody. What time is it? It is 7 o'clock Confederate Standard Time. So you know what that means? It's time for your weekly episode of SCV Chat. Before we get started, as usual, the views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of the SCV, its GEC, any division, brigade, camp, or other subsidiaries, strictly those of us who are expressing them. And that's 2 weeks in a row I've been able to do the disclaimer without messing up.
Look at you.
I'm proud.
I know, right? Hey, Carl.
How you doing?
Doing fantastic. So nice to see you.
Why can I not see Connor?
Why do you want to see Connor?
That was what I was about to ask. Do you really want to see Connor?
I can see you.
Well, I mean, I
Cousin Vinny's still on Facebook jail.
I like to know that it's actually Connor that I'm hearing and not somebody, impersonating him like he does other people.
No impersonating Connor is the problem.
Easy there, little buddy.
Sorry, I was late. I was down at the Wax Museum.
You see FDR? That man was a true American hero. He killed 50 men. But happy Thanksgiving week. So glad to see everybody on, everybody coming in. See Cousin Vinny, see AOT Commander Jimmy Hill on. Scrolling through, seeing a lot of our normal chat heads. Well, I say normal chat heads. Are any of our chat heads really normal? Y'all are spending your Monday night watching us.
Yeah. They're just good, wholesome people that want some good, wholesome entertainment.
We're wholesome?
We're good?
Well, we're on the cusp.
I see the legend Paul Gramlin and everybody else. So many people commenting on once. I'm having to scroll. I see the Lone Ranger Chuck McMichael is writing again in the comments section. But yeah. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving week, everyone. Hope everybody's having a great lead up. I did little of nothing at WORK today because we're getting ready to shut down for Thanksgiving. That was fantastic. Got to catch up on some emails. Before we get started, Matt, do you want to cover the stuff Adam had texted about, or do you want me to?
Yeah. So many of you know, I'm not sure if many of you know, but last Thursday, Cindy, who works at the office, her husband passed away. And we just want to pass on condolences to her and her family. That's an awful loss. Mike was a great guy, and it's been a little sad at headquarters, but we're getting through it. Cindy's been out. He's been sick for about 2 weeks now. And so the visitation was tonight and the funeral is tomorrow. So
yeah, it is sad. But I was texting Cindy's daughter earlier or actually yesterday on my way to the deer stand. And sent my private condolences. Y'all know this, just like we're just like everybody else. When you become part of the SCV and become an integral part of our lives, you become family.
Yeah.
And my heart and prayers go out to Cindy and her family during this time. Cindy is a sweet lady. I've never seen her where I couldn't make her laugh.
Yeah.
And she's just a joy to be around, and my heart goes out to her, and prayers for healing during this tough time.
Amen.
So, well, anyway, it's Thanksgiving week, and you got two big old Southern boys on here, and a Moose and Matt, and of course little Rob. So we're going to talk about everything that makes Thanksgiving a Southern tradition. Touch a little bit on the history of Thanksgiving. We really covered that last year. there'll be enough articles going around Facebook for the Berkeley 100. But we're going to talk about food for a good majority bit of tonight. And then, after Thanksgiving, of course, we have Christmas coming up. And I want to talk to Carl about some of his favorite Christmas traditions and some of mine. So, Carl, really quickly, give us a brief recap of what happened at the Berkeley Plantation in Virginia.
I don't know, honestly, a lot of the details of what happened. I know Captain John Woodliff was the captain of the ship, the Margaret. He was I believe, the first governor of Virginia, of the colony, I guess I should say. As it turns out, I found out about 4 years ago, he was also my 10th great grandfather. I had no idea of that until my genealogist, Harold Bolden, y'all know Harold, he discovered that. So I don't know a lot of the details of what happened. I do know that the Yankees, after the War of 1812, tried to claim it for themselves in their effort to rewrite American history into Yankee history, which is still going on to this very day. But the truth of the matter is that when the first Thanksgiving, by what would become a permanent state at the time, or ultimately a permanent colony, and then later a state that made up the United States of America. In other words, the European settlers, the English, British settlers who came here, and their settlements that led to the creation of these United States. Out of that group, it was Virginians, it was Southerners who actually held the first Thanksgiving. The North, I should say specifically New England, the posterity of Puritans, of New England Puritans. I heard Don Livingston say this, and he said that it was after the War of 1812 they came to realize that they would not be able anytime soon to dominate the country politically, so they undertook to try to dominate it culturally, and they began co-opting American history and writing it into a Yankee narrative. And so Thanksgiving was stolen from us, and we all learned it. I mean, I did. I remember the belt-buckled hats and all this stuff. And by the way, I mean, look, since we're going to get on the topic of food, let me go ahead and throw this out there. If you want to buy into the Yankee narrative of Thanksgiving, then you need to eat Yankee food on Thanksgiving. And Yankee food is going to consist. Go ahead and buy your bread tomorrow. You need to go ahead. If you don't have some bread laying around, go ahead and buy it tomorrow. Take it out of the wrapper and lay it up on your counter and let it sit there so that it will become stale. And then you need to take your dried beans or whatever kind of beans you want, put them in water, pop them in the oven and bake them. And then you need to find a great big pot and fill it up with water to boil your turkey in, because that was how Yankees prepared their food. Boiled meat, baked beans, and stale bread. There's your, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I'm going with Charlie Brown Thanksgiving all day long over that crap. I'll take the pretzels and jelly bean toast.
I'll stick with my pretzels.
They would not know what to do with a barn porpoise. There's no way you're getting a Yankee to cook a barn porpoise.
Barn porpoise. Yankees. Oh,
yeah. Hold on a quick second. I gotta hop off for a quick second, Mom. I'll probably message you in the chat real quickly.
Okay. Bye, Connor.
Bye, Connor.
Yeah, I'm not eating bull. Listen, I've had bulled meat when I was in the military. It is disgusting, and whoever does that should be punched in the face.
Well,
I agree
be
with
very happy that the foodways of America, by and large, came out of Virginia, and they didn't come out of New England. You think about when we
Listen,
this
cousin,
was,
hold on, let me
hey,
stop
this
you.
was-
Hey, cousin
this
Benny,
was
if you've
supposed
never
to-
had possum meat, you don't know what you're missing, buddy. Possum is a
yeah,
delicious
I'm
meal.
going to have
Hey,
to
look,
agree with
you're
Chuck
not going to
McMichael.
convince. You're not
I'm
going
going
to
to have
convince
deer
me
meat.
of anything on pasta. I'm not. I will eat pasta, but I'm not a fan of it. So, but I meant to include this during my oratory at the national reunion, and never got to it. But if you really want to get into Yankee contributions to the culinary arts, they're so proud of this. They named it after the city it was founded in. They took Louisiana hot sauce and Southern fried chicken. They added butter to the hot sauce and mixed the chicken up in it and cooked it. And from that came buffalo wings. So over 400 years, the Yankee contribution to American food is adding butter to hot sauce and putting it on fried chicken.
Well, no one ever accused those folks of being smart, Carl.
I think some Yankee invented veganism.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And let's be clear, when we say Yankee, we're not talking about Northerners. There are some fine Northern people, some fine Northern cooks. My own grandmother came out of Adams County, Ohio, and I mean, I grew up eating collard greens and cornbread and fried chicken. And I lived with her for a good part of my growing up, but there was a lot of people from the North, that came out of Virginia and the Carolinas as America was moving westward, and they brought those food traditions with them. So when we're talking about Yankee cooking, we're talking specifically how the offspring of Puritans cooked and still cook to this day. And it was this, kind of dour attitude on everything. And but at the same time, we ought to also be glad that American foodways didn't follow the Scots Irish, because they seasoned their food with dirt and blood. So thank God for Virginia.
Yeah. Have you ever had haggis?
I have. I've seen haggis. I'm not going to say I've never had it, because I went over to Great Britain. I spent a little while over there, and I may or may not have eaten it. I don't know, but to my recollection, I have.
Well, I'll tell you what. The British have the most bland food I've ever eaten in my life.
I loved it, Matt. I loved it. I'm not going to kid you. I don't know what part of England you were in, but the Virginia cooking ultimately comes out of England. So you're talking southern and western England, though. So I don't know what part of England you were in.
The part where they didn't have any
Eastern counties,
seasoning.
you probably just had Yankee food.
Spotted dick. Spotted dick is not good.
Okay.
I'm not even
we're gonna
follow up on that.
That was cousin Benny, man.
I'm out.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
out.
wonder where the heck that came from.
I'm reading the comments.
So here's my question. Carl and I kind of got into this last week. Wet brine versus dry brine for your turkey.
I'm a wet brine guy.
I'm sorry. I'm still starting with the comment. What are we talking about?
I think a dry brine is what most of us call a rub.
Yeah.
Right. Except it's more. It has more salt in it than your normal rub does.
Okay. I can't put it down. I can't say it's wrong because I've never tried it. I don't know. I make an apple sage brine every year, which is it's basically apple cider. It's half and half apple cider and water with some sea salt, some orange peel, allspice berries, black peppercorns, and chopped fresh sage, and then maybe one or two other ingredients in there. And I make that. I've been making it for years. You know, and then I basically brine it for about 24 hours, and then you know, put my typical rub on top of that and smoke it until it's ready. But I can't say anything negative about a dry brine because I've never tried one. So, you know, what I would say to that, if that's what you want to go with, rare frop.
Yeah. Well, I'm a dry briner. I've done both. For me, the dry brine, what I use, it's 2 parts salt, 1 part of mixture of everything else. So when I'm saying a mixture of everything else, I mean that's where my Tony's goes in, it's where my sugar goes in, it's where my garlic powder and my sage and my other herbs go, and it's like I said, it's more salt than anything else. Let it sit on there for overnight. Actually, yeah, just overnight. Rinse it off and then hit it with my normal seasonings again. Because you have so much concentrated salt on there, it does the same work as a wet brine does for me. But it's you don't have to have the cooler. You don't have to make sure that it's airtight. All that stuff. It's just pack it in salt, rinse it off, inject it, inspect it, throw it on the smoker, and have a nice day.
Yeah. Hey, when you smoke it, do you spatchcock it or do you smoke it whole?
Connor, I don't think anybody is going to look at you or me and say, hey, these two boys don't know anything about food. I mean,
That's true.
The bears hide their food up in the trees.
To answer your question, Matt, the past couple of years I've done it whole, and I start breast down, for about half the cook, and I flip it and finish it normal ways. But this year I'm thinking about spatchcocking it.
Yeah, I'm gonna spatchcock mine this year.
You're gonna do what to it?
Cut out the backbone.
Cut out its backbone.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, I'll save the neck for you, Carl.
Well, I've tried it breast down, breast up, all that, and I personally I think that Connor's got it right. If you're gonna go breast down, don't do it the whole way. That would make sense to me. I go breast up. I stuff mine full of onions, and the water pan I think is crucial because it evens out the temperature of the heat. And to me, I don't know. I can't prove this. Just a theory. It's what my dad taught me, honestly. But putting the onions in there, and you get a lot of natural moisture that comes out of the onions, which sort of seeps into the meat. And I think the water pan helps keep it evens out the heat and it keeps the turkey moist. So I think it's very, very important that if you're going to smoke a turkey to have a water pan in there. My smoker is actually not set up for a water pan, so I'll kind of jerry rig something. My smoker was made out of 1/2-inch thick steel pipe by my wife's uncle about 40 years ago. It weighs about probably 350, 375 pounds. And I love it. I don't like cooking on anything else. I mean, I really don't. I've gotten used to this thing. My father-in-law gave it to me, and I love it. It's the best cooker I've ever had. But I did have to kind of jerry-rig a way of putting a water pan in there. And because I think on a turkey, especially, and on certain other types of meat, I think it's real important to have that in there if for no other reason to keep moisture in the air and to even the temp out.
Well, mine's great. It was made in China by a child with very small hands.
They usually have them, even as adults.
I bought it at Walmart.
It's real nice.
Making my life
It's real
Man,
nice.
Look. Hey, since you brought up Japan, let me tell you, young grasshopper. That's a kung fu reference. You young people don't know it.
I know. That's a pebble for my hand.
Are you Chinese
That
or
type of
Japanese?
Smoker, the Walmart smoker, I cook so much meat during the course of the average year. I bet that I have gone through literally probably 30 of those smokers over the years of various types in the $39 to $100 range. And,
Yeah.
and look, I'm not putting them down. I'm not. I mean, because you can cook good meat on those. They just don't last long. And I looked up, and by grace of God, I've got a awesome in-laws, and my wife called my father-in-law one time and said, hey, about 10 years ago, and said, hey, Carl's looking to have a permanent smoker built, something that'll last a while. And do you know anybody that builds them? My father-in-law said, tell him to go down to the lake and get that one that's down there that his brother had built. He can have it. We don't use it anymore. So I went down. I'd cooked on this thing 100 times over the years that we'd been married. I was like, you're kidding. He's giving that to me. So I was really excited about it. But when these little Brinkman smokers that you buy at Walmart for $35, $40, I've cooked a ton of meat on those things. They'll last me about a year. Because I cook on. I'm smoking something at least once a weekend.
Yeah.
And but they're not going to last very long. But they do well at what they do. So
my wife actually got me the vertical pit ball smoker with the pellets, and I like it because that thing's plug and play, man.
Yeah, no, that's nothing wrong with that either.
I'm actually thinking about just hooking it up in the back of the truck and smoking it on the way down to my in-laws' house. I mean, nobody in Tennessee would say anything if they saw a truck going down the road with a smoker in the back smoking.
Well, I saw a guy going down the road in Tennessee with a crapper in his truck. So
did it warm? Did it warm your heart?
Oh, it did.
Well, Matt, speaking of plug and play, you really can't see it. That's my new baby.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it is a charcoal-fed vertical smoker. So, on the, of course, right-hand side, that's the charcoal hopper. It'll hold 20 pounds of briquettes. But what you can't see is it has that cheating electrical. I could sit on my phone with the Masterbuilt app and turn the degree up to 15. Turn it up 15, turn it down 15, all that stuff.
This show is brought to you by Weber, not Weber. Weber. We're almost as good.
Well, look.
No, this show is brought to you by Strickland Propane. Taste the meat, not the heat.
By the Wagner Char King.
I tell you what, that boy ain't right.
If you don't have a Wagner, you're not smoking. Taste the meat, not the heat.
And nothing drives like a Mason.
Accessories.
Yeah. Once you drive a Mason, nothing else cuts it.
Oh. They shouldn't let us all get on a show together.
We really
deviled eggs. Del Ross wants us to talk about deviled eggs. Look, I love deviled eggs. However, my family does not like it when I eat deviled eggs, and they really don't like it when I feed it to Chief.
No, I love deviled eggs too, man. I'll eat all of them except one time.
I will too.
One time I went to a wedding in Biola Battery, Alabama. A lot of people don't know.
That's a real place?
Huh?
Yeah. That's a real place?
Yes, that's a real place. A lot of people don't know there are Cajuns in Alabama, Creoles, Cajuns, something like that. I went to a wedding down there. I couldn't understand about half of what any of them said. And I love deviled eggs. I mean, if you put a tray of 200 deviled eggs in front of me at 8 in the morning, by noon, they'll be gone. I'll eat them. All right. So there's this huge tray of deviled eggs. I walked over there. I said, "Oh man, deviled eggs! Somebody brought deviled eggs. That's awesome." I picked up a couple of them, and there was a man standing there, and he said, "Yeah, my wife made those." I think that's what he said. He said, "Yeah, my wife made it." You know, talking to his nose, and man, I shoved both of them in my mouth. I'm pretty sure they were stuffed with old sardines and onion and probably possum, or I don't know what the hell they put in these. And I was sitting there. He's like,
Nutri-Rat.
They good, ain't they? And I was going, "Oh yeah," and I was giving him the thumbs up. And I casually walked across the dirt road and spit them into the bushes. And then walked back across the dirt road and promptly got myself a beer to wash that crap out. It's the only time I couldn't eat deviled eggs. Every other deviled egg I've encountered in my life has been wonderful. But
You should have rinsed 4 or 5 times with a Coke.
should have done what?
You should have rinsed your mouth out 4 or 5 times with a Coca-Cola.
Yeah. I'm taking it that was one of the stories I told you.
Yes, it was.
Cousin Vinny just used "That's So Ratchet."
I can't tell that story on the air.
No, you can't.
There's a lot of stories we can't tell on there.
I do agree.
I do enjoy deviled eggs. That was always our Easter thing. You know, we'd dye eggs on Saturday night, and then Mother would turn them into deviled eggs on Sunday.
I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid, I've often wondered how we survived. Because I can remember my cousins and my buddies that, you know, lived up and down the road I grew up on. And we would have Easter eggs, and I'm talking 6-7 days later, these Easter eggs were still in our basket. They'd never been put in the refrigerator, and we were eating them. When the candy ran out is when we went to the eggs. So you're talking about 4, 5, 6 day old room temperature eggs.
Those are good for you.
And, you know, no wonder COVID didn't really hit me all that hard.
This was after you lived in Orzac, right?
Oh yeah. You can't. You can't. There are no Easter eggs in Orzac. Birds are not allowed in the country. They put them in.
What happens if a bird gets into this country?
Rocket launcher.
No, they have a bird jail.
Go ahead and tell about the guy who was arrested for the trampoline of the 12 Days of Christmas.
Oh, there have been dozens of arrests like that. He you know, there was one guy that he and his kids were out throwing a frisbee, and the frisbee got stuck up in a tree, and he got the idea to, I'll just climb up on the roof, and I'll jump from the roof to this tree limb, and grab the tree limb and shake the frisbee out of the tree. And the bird police caught him in midair and locked him up, and he served about 3 days in jail for imitating a bird.
And what we lost Moose. What was your daily task every day, Carl?
I was the mail stick bearer. Okay, for everybody out there watching, I'm not insane. These are children's stories that I made up to tell my sons.
I was trying to break Matt, and I did it.
Wyatt was about 7 years old, and I'd say, yeah. And the guy got a trampoline for Christmas, and he started jumping on it. And Wyatt would say, "Don't do it. You're going to jail."
Go ahead and tell them the mail stick bearer one, Carl. Go ahead.
Well, the mail stick bearer was the guy who he marched down the driveway, down the dirt road. He got down to the end of the road where the mailman came, and he properly planted his mail stick, which was just a stick about 3 inches in diameter with a point on the end of it. He planted it on the ground. He stood there and he waited until the mailman came around. And when the mailman pulled up, he would take the mail and go, and just hammer it down over that point. And then the mail stick bearer would very ceremoniously march it back up to the home and deliver the mail to the family. And mail was more of a formality in Orsac. You couldn't read any of it because it had a big freaking hole through the middle of it from the mail stick. So
we need to do that at reunion. I'm just saying. For resolutions.
I think we need
resolutions
for all the resolutions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't you see Frank's face when the stick walks up there, takes the resolution out of his hands, and sticks it on the point?
And let me reiterate again. These are children's stories that I made up to entertain my kids.
These are not true.
This is.
I didn't say they weren't true. I said, I'm not upset. There may be a hint of truth to them.
I can see. This is why I get this sort of stuff. Usually happens at 4 a.m. in the morning when I'm asleep and Carl's been out. Talking too much at the gazebo, and he calls me, "Hey, little buddy, let me tell you this."
Listen, this is how Southern people do. We tell stories. That's how they get passed down. We're not really a right people.
Anyway, back to food. Sweet potato casserole with or without do you do the marshmallows or do you do the pecan topping?
That's yams. That's yams. Yams or marshmallows. All right, that's candied yams. Sweet potato casserole, or sweet potato souffle, as my grandmother called it, has pecans on it. Or pecans. However you say it, wherever you're
Pecans.
from. It's either pecan or pecan. Crushed up pecans and like a brown sugar and butter. Yes. And dressing. Do y'all have dressing or stuffing? Stuffing goes up a bird's butt. Dressing's made in a pan. Right?
Right.
I eat dressing. I have no comment on anything involving sweet potatoes because I can't stand sweet potatoes.
That's understandable.
And look, you know how the little old ladies in the South are. Well, honey, you haven't had my sweet potato. And I'd always look at them and say, do your sweet potatoes have sweet potatoes in them? Because if they do, I don't like them either.
So regular green beans cooked with a piece of pork fat in it or green bean casserole?
Oh, God, I hate green bean casserole.
Casserole all the way. My wife makes the best green bean casserole you've ever eaten, ever, period. She has to make 5 gallons of it every Thanksgiving, and 4.5 of them are for me.
I like just regular green beans with pork in them.
Same.
Hey,
There's something about the texture of green bean casserole. Just I can't do it.
So hey, look, I'll eat regular green beans with pork in it too. We grow them ever so often, in the garden, and I love them fresh out of the garden, cooked that way. But when Thanksgiving and Christmas rolls around, we actually on Christmas now we kind of alternate. We do one year we'll have traditional Christmas food, turkey dressing, all that, and then the other year we have Cajun food. I'll make jambalaya, crawfish pies, stuffed mirliton, stuff like that. But green bean casserole, if we're having traditional food on Christmas, and we do have it on Thanksgiving, I want to go with the green bean casserole, not just regular green beans. So.
All right. Cranberry sauce that comes out of the can, or cranberry sauce that somebody makes? I'm going with the can.
It's got to be out of the can, but I'm not going to eat it either way. I hate the damn things. So, but I like to see it there, and it's got to be shaped like a can.
It's got to be,
because I'm not eating it.
Yeah, I got to know where to cut it at. It's got those little indentions in it, so I know where to cut it.
Mother about had a heart attack this year because with the shortage of everything going around, she didn't think that because we didn't get a turkey for the longest, not till a couple days ago. Yeah, she didn't know that she could, or she thought that they'd be out of freaking cranberry sauce, so she took her cripple self up to the Kroger the other day and bought like 5 cans of it.
Hey, listen, the good thing about that is that stuff will stay good through a nuclear holocaust.
Hey, fellas, I'll be right back.
All right.
That is a good time for us to play a commercial.
1 second. I'm editing. I misspelled something in our bio.
I got some big news when we come back.
Episode, so I'm changing it.
All right, I'll go ahead and pick one because I know which one you'll pick. We'll be right back, y'all.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs. Come and discover your history.
And of course, that commercial was sponsored by Victory Flags and More, as well as the Confederate Legion. Make sure to go check them out. With Christmas coming up, Victory Flags and More has a bunch of great stuff that you can get. Everything from T-shirts to flags to more, including a copy of the Jefferson Bible, which I have sitting on my desk at work. And of course, the Confederate Legion is what we've been working on for the past couple of years, reclaiming the narrative, or taking back the narrative. Kind of what we started with tonight before we got on food. And I got one more little video to play, and we'll be back. So hold on 1 second. Carl Jones, Alabama Patriot. He does not want your vote this next November.
Listen, Vinny, there's not enough money in the world to get me to come to New Jersey. All right, just none. You can promise me I'm not coming to New Jersey ever.
I wish I could read these comments because I can't reply to them.
Well, Vinny's saying that you should run for president.
Yes.
Charles LeRae says cranberries of any kind are the way. Which, Charles, it's a good picture of you in front of the Mouton monument. I'll try to upload that if you're okay with it. Just give me a yes. Sean McFall says, I'm the only one that likes swamp cabbage for Thanksgiving.
That's the most Florida thing I've ever heard.
What is this swamp cabbage we speak of?
They got skunk ape down there too.
Oh, we got them here. Yeah. But I don't know what swamp cabbage is.
It's some kind of Florida thing. Yeah. Hey, Sean, tell us what swamp cabbage is.
I thought that's what you left out for the Yuletide Cyclops.
No. He drinks beer.
Dennis Soberfield says no cranberry sauce or beets for him, but Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. So, Vinny wants Moose to be the Speaker of the House. No. All right, I'll upload that in a second. Sean McFall says the cabbage palm grows wild all over the state in such abundance that it is not cultivated for harvest as a vegetable. Although the swamp cabbage tree grows wild, it is protected from indiscriminate hunting by its designation as Florida's state tree. So,
Poke salad. What is this poke salad? I've never had that. Have any of you had poke salad? Have you had poke salad, Carl?
I'm a picky eater. I need to stay out of food.
Yeah, I've seen you eat chicken fingers at a fish
I
restaurant.
have. I've heard about llama. I know it's what I recall about it is there's kind of a short distance in poke salad as to whether it is edible or poisonous. So you got to cook it right. That's.
It's like a blowfish.
I've heard about it all my life, and I've growing up with the old country ladies out of West Alabama that were in my family. I'm certain I probably had at some point, but I can't tell you. I mean, I'm a collard green guy. Collard green, turnip green, mustard green, spinach, all that. I eat all that. So I'd probably like poke salad, but I can't specifically recall ever having it. So.
Well, I've never had it, but hey, I'll try anything once. I mean, I ate dog when I was in Korea.
Anyway, I got the picture of Charles uploaded from this past weekend. I think Chief just ran away. That's, of course, Charles Array, who's running for ATM councilman this past weekend at Camp Moore, Louisiana. In Tangipahoa, Louisiana, beside the general, I believe it was Alfred Mouton monument that was taken down but re-erected there on the training grounds. I'm sure there'll be a story about it and look around the Confederation here in a couple of weeks. But that was this weekend. Just goes to prove that the SCV, when they take one down, we put one back up.
You know what? Let me make sure this is up for the rest of the show. All right, there we go.
So when I get done, when I smoke my turkey this year, I'm also doing another pork butt, because I'm making another batch of Brunswick stew. Nice. Speaking of food that came from Virginia.
Brunswick stew comes from Brunswick, Georgia.
Brunswick, Virginia.
Brunswick, Georgia.
I knew that was happening. I was sitting there waiting on that to happen.
Yeah, I was kind of poking at him a little bit.
And I got news for both of you. It came from Warsack. we mailed the recipe in like 1696 from Warsack to Georgia and Virginia, and y'all didn't get it like 100 years later because y'all don't have a damn mail stick bearer.
Well, no, it's probably
we couldn't read it because that had a giant hole in it.
Well, here Brunswick stew has chicken in it though.
Not the original recipe.
Oh, not the Orsakian recipe. Okay.
In Orsack, it was barn porters.
and that'll last me through. I'll freeze most of that and then heat some of it up here in the Super Bowl. But then we start getting ready for Christmas. Carl, tell us about some of your favorite Christmas traditions.
Well, before we get on that, I thought we were going to be doing recipes tonight and trying to. I thought this was going to be sort of an instructional video teaching Yankees how to cook, and I knew that no matter what advice we gave them, they were not going to absorb it. They were still going to revert to their boiled meat and stale bread
and baked beans.
So I wore this shirt specifically for them. It says, "I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you." I mean, if you look up the term in the dictionary, exercise and futility, it will give an example as teaching a Yankee how to cook.
I love how the disclaimer's going back across the bottom of the screen.
There's so many times that I felt like it needed to be up there, so I finally stopped because normally we'll just like pop in. Well, the views and opinions expressed on this broadcast.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing we have such a crack legal team on SCV chat.
Oh yeah.
I think real quick. So normally, about once or twice a show, we have a moment where, me and Matt will look at each other, or me and Connor, and we'll just say, the views and opinions expressed on this broadcast. I'm pretty sure all our chat heads familiar with the joke. Well, with there being so many moments like that on tonight's show, I just said screw it, and I just put the disclaimer.
Just let it run. Run frop. Here's the really sad thing. I haven't had a drink all day besides Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, me either. But it's getting real close. We're at 47 minutes, so in about about 10, I'm gonna be hitting the bourbon.
It's getting very, very close to that time.
I'm ordering a steak right now.
But Carl, we have mentioned it twice tonight, and we've mentioned it in other broadcasts. We need to know about this Yuletide Cyclops and Christmas Yak.
Well, I wanted to start a new tradition when Sam was born. He's 21 now, and my nephew Joseph, he was a year older than Sam, and I started with them about Santa Claus. Santa Claus is cool and all, but I just thought we needed to spice things up a little bit. So I came up with the idea of a Yuletide Cyclops and a Christmas Yak. And we would ride around. There's a pumpkin patch in North Alabama. And in October, you go out there and go through the field on a tractor ride and get a pumpkin. In December, they put up all these Christmas lights. And so I was telling my son and my nephew, the Christmas Yak ought to be here. That was how it started. Of course, as what it turned into was me driving the women in my family crazy. Carl, you can't tell them that, And so it got, it became more fun. So Sam was about 3 years old, I guess, 2.5, 3 years old. We went on a hay ride with the church way down into the woods out, in Shelby County, Alabama. And we rode the tractor out there on the hay bales and all this, on the trailer with hay bales on it. And got way out in the woods, and they had a bonfire, and there were some musicians, playing guitars and singing. And we're sitting out there on hay bales around the bonfire, and I looked at Sam. I said, I just heard a noise. I was thinking I'd heard like some deer walking through the woods. I actually did hear a noise. I said, Sam, I think I just heard a noise. It's the Christmas Yak. And I about died laughing. And if looks could kill, his mom would have just like blown me right off the hay bale. I mean, you gotta stop that, you know. So, and then the Yuletide Cyclops came in there later just to add more lunacy to it. And so that was kind of the big joke in my family. And I mean, I didn't want to scare them too bad because my original concept was to trade Santa Claus for Bigfoot. And so you have this giant furry ape coming down your chimney bringing toys every year. And so the Christmas Yak was kind of a, a
compromise
from that.
Did he ride the yak?
The Yuletide Cyclops rides the yak, actually. And I made up a song that I tried to make them believe was an old Christmas carol that had been around for centuries. I'm going to see the Yuletide Cyclops riding on the Christmas Yak. I'm going to have so much fun. I may not ever come back. So, and I would try to get them to sing that every year. But I got way too much pushback from the women folk in the family. They thought I was corrupting the children. So to make up for it, I taught them all how to shoot, and I just thought that was smooth things.
Well, I can see
them all guns, and
I can see your kids going to school and someone be like, "Man, I can't wait for Santa Claus to come," and the kid going, "Santa Claus ain't real, man. It's a Yuletide Cyclops."
And the Christmas Yak.
Yak.
I know Donette is sitting back there just thrilled that we brought this up on the show.
she's over.
Christmas Yak.
Oh, she doesn't realize what's going to happen.
Those cute little impressionable young men are now taller than their daddy, and both of them well over 200 pounds. So she's not studying that no more.
What's going to happen is at National Reunion, everybody's going to.
Hey.
Well, I'm going to say is what's going to happen is at National Reunion, everybody's going to be coming around talking about the Christmas Yak. And she ain't going to let you come to National Reunion no more.
Well,
I think what cousin Vinny said he gave somebody a tarantula.
If we could come up with a female Christmas Yak, I think that would be a great partner for the moose.
Why ain't Moose wearing his costume tonight? That's what I want to know.
After Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right. After Thanksgiving, he has to wear that every show after Thanksgiving.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
But next Monday, Moose will be in his Moose outfit.
No. I said the Christmas special.
Every week after Christmas every week after Thanksgiving is a Christmas special.
Isn't every episode a special episode?
It is.
Not
Special Ed.
Yeah.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV.
Doug Grant says Christmas Yaks can be used as pulling guards for those 8 tiny reindeer.
Oh, that was another thing, Connor. After we got off the Christmas Yak, I tried convincing my kids and all my nieces and nephews that the Santa sleigh was actually pulled by gorillas.
Christmas gorillas. There's something I'd like to see.
They're like normal gorillas, but more festive.
On Harambe.
on Coco, wasn't that the one that learned how to sign language?
Yeah. They had Willie B. They had Willie B in the Atlanta Zoo for a long time. He watched TV.
On Mighty Joe Young, on King Kong.
We should write a whole Christmas carol on.
We're writing a story now.
Christmas Yaks and Cyclopses and gorillas pulling Santa's sleigh.
Now, Carl, are you going to get offended if next year for the holiday season, SCV chat has a yak with a Santa hat on it on the back of a T-shirt?
That's a great T-shirt idea.
Well, I think for Christmas music, you know what you ought to play. Hank and Bobby in the Christmas truck.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh goodness.
You remember Peggy Hill attempted writing the Christmas song.
Right. All right, boys. Well, it is
Christmas is a fun time of the year. Oh, hey, big news. Just so everybody knows, starting next Monday after Thanksgiving, I will be officially taking over as a sales manager at headquarters. Yay. All right, I'm excited, but we'll have some new stuff out soon, and I'll be bringing it out.
You got dibs on the Christmas Yak shirt.
I'm already on that.
Well, it's about time for everybody to call it a night here. I'm ready for some Wolf Brand, some Frito chili pie with Wolf Brand chili. That sounds really appetizing right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the words, thank y'all for tuning in.
Whoa. Thursday night, there will not be an episode of Look Around Federation. Yeah. It's Thanksgiving, and I'll be eating smoked turkey.
Same.
Yeah. We'll be back Monday with our regularly scheduled program of first Monday, second Monday, third, yada, yada, yada. Starting Monday. We will be taking a break for Christmas like we did last year. So y'all get ready for that. We're getting ready to end season 2 of SCV Chat. So thank y'all for sticking around with us. And we'll, like I said, Monday, 7 o'clock, we'll be back. And in the words of the late, great Harold Philpotts, no Fumar in the elevator.
We're a prop.
No Fumar in the elevator. We're a prop, everybody.